Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right in to unpack the intense, high-stakes crisis that led to one of the most infamous symbols of the entire Cold War. Okay, so to really get what's going on, you have to picture the scene right after World War II. Germany is in ruins, and the victorious Allies and the Soviets, well, they just can't agree on what to do with it. So, by 1949, the country is officially split in two, creating this stark, unavoidable contrast right in the middle of Europe. And I mean, this slide really lays it bare. You've got two completely different worlds, literally, side by side. In the West, you have a democratic Germany getting pumped full of money from the Marshall Plan. It's booming, prosperous, basically a walking advertisement for capitalism. On the flip side, you've got East Germany. It's under tight Soviet control, plagued by shortages, a low standard of living, and, a secret police force keeping an eye on everyone. One was a beacon of prosperity, the other a struggling state.
So you could probably guess what happened next, right? This huge difference created a massive, massive problem for the Communist East. Its own people were leaving in huge numbers. They were, as they say, voting with their feet, and it was quickly turning into a national crisis.
Just let this number sink in for a second. By 1958, 3 million people had already left for the West. That's more than a sixth of the entire country's population who just got up and walked away. And how are they doing it? Well, there was this one giant loophole, the open border right in the middle of the divided city of Berlin. All you had to do was get from East Berlin to West Berlin and, boof, you were free.
And look, this wasn't just about the sheer number of people leaving, it was about who was leaving. East Germany was losing the very people it desperately needed to build a functioning economy. We're talking engineers, skilled technicians, teachers, all looking for a better life. In one incredible example, the entire mathematics department of the University of Leipzig defected. I mean, can you even imagine that? This wasn't just a leak, it was a catastrophic brain drain.
It's a real problem when even Soviet officials have to admit it. Their own ambassador in East Germany basically wrote, hey, this open border is forcing people to compare our side with their side, and it's not looking good for us. Berlin wasn't just an escape hatch, it was a PR nightmare for the entire communist project.
And this is really the heart of the matter, right? This wasn't just an economic problem or about losing workers. No, this was a deep, fundamental ideological failure. Every single person who crossed that border was living proof that, when given a choice, people preferred capitalism. It was a huge blow to the legitimacy of communism itself.
And believe me, the people at the top of the Soviet Union knew it. The stakes could not have been higher. Just listen to what one of their top guys, Anasis Mikoyan, said. He pointed out that Marxism was born in Germany. If communism couldn't succeed there, of all places, then the whole experiment might be a failure. The entire ideology was on the line.
So something had to give, and the man in charge, Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev, was getting seriously fed up. He famously called West Berlin a fishbone stuck in his throat, this annoying, irritating island of capitalism and freedom deep inside his territory that he just couldn't get rid of. He needed it gone.
So what does he do? He goes for a huge gamble. In November 1958, he throws down this dramatic ultimatum. He tells the US, Britain, and France they have 6 months to do what he says. And if they don't, he threatened to just hand over control of all the roads and railways into West Berlin to the East German government. It was a massive power play designed to solve his refugee problem once and for all.
Okay, so what did he actually want? Well, his demands were pretty straightforward, but they were a huge deal. 1, all Western troops out. 2, demilitarize the city. And 3, turn West Berlin into this neutral, free city. Now, the really clever or sneaky part of his threat was that if he gave Axis control to East Germany, the West would have to deal with them directly. It would force the Allies to legitimize a country they refused to even recognize.
So how do you think the West reacted to this? Well, they were absolutely furious. This looked like classic Soviet bullying, another attempt to expand communism by force. And just like that, Khrushchev's ultimatum kicked off one of the most dangerous standoffs of the entire Cold War.
The United States, especially, was not having it. President Eisenhower's administration refused to give an inch. For them, this was about way more than just Berlin. It was about American credibility around the world. And even though West Berlin was over 100 miles inside enemy territory and basically impossible to defend normally, they made it clear they were prepared to risk nuclear war over it.
But here's where it gets really tense. Not everyone in the Western Alliance was on the same page.
the British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan was privately freaking out. He basically told the US, "Hold on a second, are we really going to risk nuclear obliteration for Berlin?" It just goes to show you the terrifying stakes and the deep cracks this crisis was causing among the Allies.
So you've got this insane game of nuclear chicken going on, and in the end, Khrushchev blinked. He saw that the US was absolutely serious, and so he let his 6-month deadline pass without doing anything. The immediate danger of war faded, and the whole crisis shifted from open threats to a series of very, very tense summit meetings between 1959 and 1961.
But here's the thing. Just because the ultimatum failed didn't mean the problem went away. Those meetings solved absolutely nothing. And the flood of refugees through Berlin, it was still happening. In fact, it was getting worse. Khrushchev's big gamble had failed, leaving him looking weak with a problem that was spinning out of control. And that, right there, sets the stage for a far more permanent, far more drastic solution. One that would physically divide a city, a people, and the world.